Hey boys and girls, so today we're going to be going over Unit 13, Lesson 2, which is comparing measures. So yesterday I know we had gone over mean, median, mode, range, all of those good words. Today you're going to learn an extra word, and then we're just going to build on what you had learned yesterday. All right, so as we look at the do now, it says use the two sets of data to answer the question below. So if we look, it says what set of data has the larger mean? So I know mean is a key word that we had gone over yesterday. I'm sure a lot of you already knew what that word is asking you to do. So if I want to find the mean, it means that I want to add up. I'm going to add all numbers, and then I'm going to divide by how many there are. All right, so I'm just gonna set this up here on the side for myself. So if I wanna find the mean of all of those numbers in part A, I'm just gonna write that. So I'm gonna add 4 and 6 and 3 and 4 and 2. I'm gonna take all of those numbers and then I'm gonna divide by how many there are. And there's 5 of them there. So I'm gonna divide by 5, all right? Then I'm gonna do the same thing for B. So I'm gonna label it, this was the work for A. And now I'm about to write down the work for B. So B is the same thing. I'm going to add all the numbers that are there. 4, 5, 7, 3, 5 again. And then I'm going to divide by how many there are. And again, there was 5. Okay. When I add all the numbers on the top in part A, I get 19. And then 19 divided by 5 is 3.8. And then the same thing for the bottom. If I add all these numbers on top, I get 24. But 24 divided by 5 is 4.8. So when it says which set of data has a larger mean, I know that 4 is more than 3, right? It's greater. So I know that B would have to have been my answer. All right. So moving on to today, this is the new vocab word that you're going to learn, interquartile range. If you have a highlighter, I would highlight that. If you don't, that's okay. You can underline it or box it in some way. IQR is a way of shorthanding it. So just like instead of, now I'm going to try to think of an example. It's just a way to write it in a shorter way. All right, and outliers. Outliers is another word. We're not going to talk about it a ton, but we are going to go over what it means and how to find them. So just stay tuned. So underneath it says the interquartile range. So again, I'm just going to highlight that. So the interquartile range is another form of range. All right, so I know yesterday you had learned range was the biggest number minus the smallest. Okay, we are going to still subtract for interquartile range, but it's not the biggest number minus the smallest. It's going to be quartile 3 minus quartile 1. All right, and we're going to talk a lot more about where I'm getting those numbers from in a minute. All right, and then underneath, it says to determine if a value is an outlier, so that other vocabulary word. So I'm just going to underline outlier and underline it over here. It says we would have to multiply the IQR. So we have to multiply the interquartile range by 1.5. All right, and then we're going to add or subtract this amount to the median. So again, we're going to add or subtract to the median, and that's going to tell you if there's an outlier or not. All right, so as we work through and I look at the example underneath, it says consider the data set below. So we have all of these numbers underneath. It says finding the IQR. So we're at the top right here. I want to find my interquartile range. It says you can use your calculator to do this. So I'm just going to quickly pull out my app that we asked you to download, that Calculator X app. And it's right here. And it looks just like your graphing calculator at school. And I'm just going to go and press stat. And after I press stat, I'm going to press edit. Okay. And this is where you would be entering all of your key information. All right. So the first number I see is 2, enter. After that, there's 3, there's 4, there's 5, there's 6, 7, 8, 9, and 45. Okay, and it even tells me 45 was my 9th number. So I know that there was 9 values that I just plugged in on the side. All right, and you can always count it out and cross it out on your own paper as you're doing that, just to make sure you don't make any mistakes. Okay, now that I've typed everything in, I want to press Stat, go over to Calc, which is in the middle, and I'm going to press 1var Stat. All right, and this is the exact same buttons you would press on the calculator at school, and then you would press Enter. All right, and then it gives you all the information represented in a few different ways on the side now. So it's asking me for the inner quartile range for the question that I'm working on right now, which is Q1 and Q3. I can see on the calculator app, it's telling me that Q1 is 3.5 and that Q3 is 8.5. So when I jump back to the lesson, I can see again that Q1 is 3.5 and Q3 is 8.5. All right, but that's how we're finding those numbers, how we're getting that information is by using that app, all right, or really the calculator from school. And now that I have these numbers, if I want to find the inner quartile range, that IQR, I have to subtract these values and I get the number 5. All right, so I know that my inner quartile range is the number 5. Okay, and now if I jump over to the side, if I want to find if there's an outlier, so just like in baseball, right, there's the outfield, so there's everyone who's on first, second, third, home, the pitcher is in the middle, right, and then there's those players that are far, far away, they're out in the outfield, so think of it as, you know, those are outliers because they're far away. So outlier, when it comes to like a number in math, it just means that it's not really hanging out with the other numbers that are listed. All right, so just by looking, it almost looks like 45 would be an outlier here. So I'm gonna go ahead and just box that. And then I'm just gonna box the word outlier. All right, because 45 would be an outlier. It's so big, it's, you know, it's nowhere near 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, 6, 7, 8, 9. But mathematically, this is how you would check to see if it is an outlier or not. So just like before, it says we multiply the IQR. Our IQR was 5. So I'm gonna multiply 5 to 1.5. So we're multiplying 5 and 1.5. And we get 7.5. Now I want to add or subtract the 7.5 to my median. So the median was 6. So now I'm going to add 7.5 to 6, and then I'm going to subtract 7.5 from 6. And we get these values. Any value in this list of numbers, okay, that's below or it's less than negative 1.5, or if it's above 13.5, it would be an outlier, okay? There's no negative numbers in this data at all, so I can almost ignore this guy, but the 13.5, 45 is definitely more than 13 and a half, so we know for sure that 45 is an outlier, okay? Moving on to the next page. So as we look at number 1, now it's just taking everything that you guys have learned over the course of yesterday and that extra vocab word that we just went over right now, and it's applying it all together. All right, so as I look at this first question, it says, Christopher looked at his quiz scores shown below from the first and second semester of his algebra class. So if I look at semester 1, those are all of the grades that he earned in the first half of the year. And then semester 2, these are all the grades he earned in the second half of the year. Which statement about Christopher's performance is correct? All right, so because these are all going to be multiple choice for today, I always like to help myself by reading the multiple choice questions first and seeing if any of them look simpler than others, you know, try to knock some questions, you know, right out of the park. Oh, this definitely isn't the answer, or, you know, maybe it is, I should check this, you know, things like that. So as I'm just looking through, I see the vocab word inner quartile range, again, inner quartile range. In order to find this value, I'd have to type it into my calculator. All right, so let's see, is there maybe anything else that's a little bit easier? Median, right? Median is that number that's in the middle. I could rewrite these numbers so I could find the median. But again, that's kind of a little bit of work. Let me look at 3. So 3 is the mean. So the mean tells me that I have to add all the numbers, right? Divide by how many there are. Again, this is kind of a little bit of work. So let's look at number 4. And it's the same thing, third quartile. If I want to find that value, I'd have to type all these numbers into the calculator. All right, so it doesn't look like any of these are a shortcut here. So I'm just going to jump right in and just find all the values for each one and then kind of go from there. All right, so it looks like I have to find the inner quartile range. I have to find the median, the mean, and quartile 3 if I want to answer this question. All right, so I'm just going to open up my handy dandy calculator here. I'm just going to go back to my list, stat edit, and I'm just going to scroll up so that list 1 is highlighted, and I'm going to press clear. All right, because I want all of those values from the last question gone. This is a new question. I want to start fresh. So I'm going to do semester 1 first, clear it out, and then do semester 2 second. So semester 1 had the values of 78, 91, 88, 83, and 94. Okay, and then just like before, I'm going to press stat again, but instead of pressing edit, I want to go to calculator and I want to do that 1 var stat instead. All right, if I press enter, all of my information pops up here. So now I want to write down those values that I need. All right, so the inner quartile range is the Q3 minus Q1. So I want to take 92.5 and subtract it from 80.5. All right, so I'm just going to write that down here because right now I'm working on semester 1. And this would be my answer for semester 1. So I'm going to take my Q3, which is 92.5, and subtract it from my Q1, which was 80.5. Okay, I'll find that value at the end. Right now, I'm just going to keep working. So again, right now I'm looking at semester 1, and semester 1. All right, so what was the median score for semester 1? Well, again, if I check back here, if I look, well, the median was 88. So I'm just going to fill that in. The median was 88. All right, I know that the mean is the first value. It's that X bar, okay, which was 86.8. So I'm going to fill that in, 86.8. And then my third quartile, I would just jump down to the bottom again for Q3, which was 92.5. All right, and then again, I'm just going to fill that in, 92.5. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and clear out my calculator here. I'm going to actually find the IQR now for semester 1 by typing this in on my regular screen. So 92.5 minus 80.5 is just the number 12. So I'm going to fill that in. Okay, then I would go back and I would type all these values in for semester 2, do my 1 var stat, get all those values and plug it in. Okay, I already went ahead and found them just to save some time. So my inner quartile range for semester 2 was 12. So I found my Q3, which was 92, subtracted it from my Q1, which was 80, and I got 12. The median for semester 2 was 88. The mean, that X bar for semester 2 was 87. And then Q3 for the third quartile was 92. Okay, do you see how I'm filling in all my information above the words? So it'll help me as I'm reading my choices to see what makes sense and what doesn't. So now I'm going to check, is 12 greater than 12? I feel like absolutely not, so not 1. Number 2, is 88 greater than 88? No. It's just like choice 1. 12 equals 12, right? 88 equals 88. It's not more. So it's got to be 3 or 4, so let's check it. Is 87 greater than 86? 87.8. I mean, yes, 87 is definitely more than 86. But let's check choice 4 just to make sure we didn't make any mistakes. Is 92 greater than 92.5? No. Having $92 versus $92.50, right? This is definitely more. So I know choice 3 was correct and we are good to go. So now if I jump down and I look at number 2, same thing. We're just using all of these keywords that we went over yesterday and just applying them to these questions. So it says Isaiah collects data from 2 different companies. So we have company 1 and company 2, and they each have 4 employees. So here's my 4 employees for company 1. Here's my 4 employees for company 2. The results of the study based on each worker's age and salary are listed below. So one worker who was 25 years old was making $30,000 in a year. Let me jump over here. You know, somebody who was 29 was making $37,000 a year. All right, so that's how you would read these tables. But underneath it says which statement is true about the data. Okay, so again, as I'm reading through, because I know this is multiple choice, the first one says I have to compare the median for both companies. So median is the number in the middle. So I know it would have to be somewhere like in between those numbers. Same thing, somewhere in between. If I want to find the middle number for the salaries. And it's not right there for me. So I'm not saying we can't find it, but since it's not easy to look at, I'm going to skip choice 1 and try to see if I can, you know, look at choice 2 first maybe. So choice 2 says I have to find the mean. The mean says I have to add all these up and divide, right? Add these up to, so that's kind of a little bit of work. Let's look at choice 3. Choice 3 says I want to look at the range for the salary. Okay, and then again, I want to look at the range for the salary. I feel like range is pretty simple. Range tells me I just subtract the biggest and the smallest number and I'm done. Same thing here, range is the biggest number minus the smallest and I'm done. So because this is so simple, I'm just going to find that right now. So I'm going to label my work here. So company 1, and then we have company 2. All right, so company 1, the biggest number was 38,000 minus the smallest number was 30,000. Well, 38,000 minus 30,000 is 8,000. Okay, so I just found the range of the salary for company 1 because I'm looking at the salary values. Now I'm going to do it for company 2. The biggest number was 65,000. Minus the smallest was 29,000. And again, when you subtract, you get 36,000. All right. So now if I look at choice 3, because I already found my range, it says that the salary for the range in company 2, so I'm starting with this number, which is 36,000. So I'm going to fill that in, 36,000. It says it should be greater than the range of the salary for company 1. And company 1 was 8,000. So let's read it again. Is 36,000 greater than 8,000? Absolutely. So I know choice 3 had to have been my final answer here. All right. Normally we would go through each choice, right? Double check that we have the right answer. Just for time, I'm trying to shorthand this a little bit right now. Because all these other values, boys and girls, you would just type it into that app, the stats button, I mean. Go to your list, type all the information in, and then do a 1 var stat after, just like I did in example 1. All right, but it would be the same process. Once you get your answers, you would fill them in on the multiple choice and kind of go from there. Okay, now I'm going to just jump to the 3rd page. So looking at number 3, it says the 2 sets of data below represent the number of runs scored by 2 different youth baseball teams over the course of a season. Okay, so this is how many runs Team A made, and this is the number of runs that Team B made. Which set of statements about the mean is true? So again, this is multiple choice, And I can see that I'm just using the vocab word mean the entire time. So on the side here, I'm just going to write, well, I have to find the mean, which is really the X bar value for team A. And then I have to find the mean, which is my X bar, for team B. All right. I know that I could use the stats button, go to my list, right, type the values in and find my answer. But because this is, I don't know, it's to each their own. For this, I would probably just type it on the regular screen, which is actually what I did. So when you add 4, 8, 5, 12, 3, 9, 5, and 2, when I add all these bad boys up, I got the number 48. And then when you divide by how many numbers there are, and there's 8 of them, I found that the mean was 6. And then I did the same thing for B. I added all these values up for B, and I got 55. And then when I divide by 8, because there's 8 values, I got 6.875. And now I'm going to just plug it in and find my answer. So I know that team A has a mean of 6, and team B has a mean of 6.875. And now I'm going to read them through. So is 6 less than 6.875? It absolutely is. So it just so happens choice 1 was the answer. All right, but we can always check the others. 6 is not more than 6.875. Those values are definitely not equal. And if I take half of 6, I get 3. So 6 and 3 are definitely not the same as well. So I know none of these were correct. Has to be choice 1. If I look at number 4, it says the ages of 10 teachers at George Washington Elementary School are, and here's all of their ages. And then it says which statement is true regarding this information. So again, it's multiple choice, so I'm going to look at my choices to help me. It looks like all I have to find is the mean and the median to find this answer. So again, I know that mean is X bar, and I know that the median is MED on the calculator. All right, so I typed all these values into my list. A helpful hint, when you're typing those values in, I usually cross them off as I go, just to make sure that I don't enter the same number twice or miss a value. All right, so I found out that the mean was 30.9 and that the median was 33. And then I'm just going to rewrite them over on the side here by my choices. So I know that my mean is 30.9 and I know that my median is 33. And then I'm just going to check. So is 30.9 less than 33? Yes, it is. So right now it looks like 1 is the answer, but I'm going to check the others to be sure. Does 30 equal 33? No. Is 30 more than 33? No. If I take 2 and I multiply it to the mean, so if I take 2 and multiply it to 30, I get 60. So does 60 equal 33? No. So I know that my answer has to be choice 1. And then number 5, it says Mel took 12 tests in her math class and received the following grades. So here they all are. It says which statement is true regarding this information? Well, if I look at my choices, because it's multiple choice, it looks like I have to find the mean, the median, and the mode. All of my answers here use those vocab words. So I'm just going to set myself up here to find the mean, the median, and the mode. And just as a reminder, the mode, MO, is the number that you see the most, MO. Mode is most. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and let's work on this one together. Let's just practice using that calculator again. So I'm going to go to Stat, and then I'm going to go to Edit for my list. I'm going to highlight list 1 and press Clear to get rid of all of those values from my last question. And now I'm going to start again. So 85 is my first value. Then I have 89, 89 again, and 2 more times. So I have 89 4 times. Then it looks like I have the number 90 2 times. I have 92 2 times. I have 96 2 times. And then I have 100. Okay, the question said that there were 12 grades, and I'm seeing that my last value was at the number 12. All right, so I know I have all of them in there, and now I'm going to press stat again, but instead of going to my list here, I'm going to do a 1var stat, and that gets me all the information that I need on the side here. All right, so I know that I have to find the mean, which is that x bar value. It's 91.416, so I'm going to write that down. 91.416, and I'm going to put a little hat on the number 6 because I can see here that 6 is repeating. Okay. Then I have to find the median, which is down below. So median is MED. That's 90. So I'm going to fill that in. And then if you look here, the only value that they never list is the mode. So I don't see the word mode anywhere. It's not there. So you have to always try to find that mode on your own. So mode is the number you see the most, all right? So 85, I see 1 time. 89, I'm seeing 4 times. 90 was 2. 92 is 2, 96 is 2. So it looks like the mode right now is 89. All right, now that I got all those values, I'm going to fill them in. So I know that the mean is 91. You would usually include the decimal, but every number is different, so I'm just going to write 91 for now. So the mean is 91, 91, 91, and 91. I know that the median is 90. So the median is 90, 90, 90, and 90. And then the mode, the number I see the most is 89. So 89, 89, 89, 89. And this is just something that I like to do, always filling in those values right on the question so it's easier to look at. And now I have to check. So is 91 less than 90? I feel like absolutely not, so this is not the answer. Let's look at 2. Is 90 less than 91? Yeah, let's keep going. Is 91 less than 89? No. So let's look at choice 3. Is 89 less than 90? Yes. Is 90 less than 91? Yes. So it looks like choice 3 is the answer, but let's be safe and check 4 as well. Is 89 less than 91? Yes. Is 91 less than 90? No, it's more than. So I know that the answer has to be choice 3, and that was it. All right, boys and girls, just make sure that you continue to log in each day, copy all of the notes that are taught, not just the answer. All of this beautiful work that we're going over with you in class needs to be shown in your notes, all right? Miss you.